guys. Today I'm going to be giving you a review on that Mayflower tire changer and balancer deal. So it's like on eBay they sell it for like $1,930 or whatever for like the combo. That's with free shipping, and it's quite a bit less expensive than like if you were to go out and buy any sort of name brand combo. And everything I had seen so far is like people talking about it. It was pretty positive. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. And then I'm going to, give you guys a full review and, let you know what I think, or at least the initially how it is. Cause obviously, over years, it's hard to say. Maybe I'll give another review down the road, but for right now, I'm going to talk about it, as is. It's just a basic, tire machine. It doesn't have any extra arms. It's just a simple, bar style machine, and then a digital balancer. And I figure, I'm just going to be using it here in my garage, so it should be, more than adequate for doing anything I need to do. Because, I'm not planning on trying to do some 26-inch wheels with some rubber bands or something. So it should be fine. So we're going to, I'm going to show you, taking it apart, putting it together and all that stuff, and, running it. As far as like, how long it took to get here, from payment to when I had it shipped to a warehouse that was local, and it took 9 days. That's, with the weekends, everything. I mean, that was pretty quick. I mean, considering how big it is. And, I had heard from other companies, sometimes their shipping was longer. So it's, maybe results may vary, but for me, it was pretty quick and it was easy to pick up. So let's get to it. All loaded up. Time to take it home and unload. All right, got them where I'm gonna have them. Gotta unwrap them now. Balancer. Tire machine. Yeah. So first impressions of, the crate setup. I think they did a pretty good job on the crate. It looks like it's bolted to the actual bottom of it. These little tab things that they ship them with, you just kind of pry them open and then it just kind of comes apart. It's actually relatively, easy to get these crates apart. You can see it right there. It's just kind of like a folded over tab. And, this plywood is pretty thin, but honestly, it appears to be undamaged, so they did a pretty good job shipping it. So let's get it out of these crates. Okay, so machine's out of the box. It's kind of positioned where I want it. I might move it later, but for the moment this will work. You got like some of these pieces you got to attach. You got this main piece, got your little that deal, and there's like a bunch of box of parts, and you got your instruction manual, which is nice. I was kind of worried there wasn't going to be one since it's like kind of a Chinese deal, but. Yeah, so the first step it wants you to do is it wants you to put this arm on there, tighten it there, and tighten it to 70 Newton meters. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so next part is they want you to install the spring, which is going to go on top of there. So you're removing that cap up there, pulling it up, putting this spring on there, and then tighten it back down, and then also putting this piece in, which is the piece that goes right over here on the side of the machine to basically, set your distance. So we're gonna put those on. Okay, so next step is to put the bead breaker arm on to there. So we're gonna be sliding it through the hole. There's like you can see this thing here. So basically, there's two different sides if you look at it. One of them has kind of a flat side, and the other one has kind of more of a rounded side. The flat side is going to go out. Basically, the side where the nut screws on is the flat side. So we're going to put that on there, and then we've got this spring that's going to go into this piece here, and then attaches to the rod, or to the arm here. And then the instructions are telling me there's something about they want set a distance between the bead breaker. I don't really know how exactly they want you to do that, so hopefully I can figure that out. If not, well, screw it. But yeah, let's just put it on. Okay, so the bead breaker arm is on there. Just one thing to note that is the instructions are very unclear. It doesn't really tell you about this spring. As far as I can tell, it's supposed to go to here, which makes sense to me. The spring is kind of, I don't understand. It's like, it's clocked one way, but it really doesn't need to be. So it's like almost like it's the wrong spring. I don't really understand. And the only way I was able to get it on there reasonably easy is I took this pin out, slid this arm over, put the spring on, then pulled it out, put the pin in. So that's just something to, keep in mind. So next thing that's pretty simple, this air regulator, or the, like the filler for the tire. Basically, this piece is gonna go into this piece. It's pretty simple. This basically just like loosens and tightens, and it's got like there's like a rubber seal on the bottom of this. So you basically just slide it in here and then tighten it down. So pretty simple. Next thing is hook up the air. So I just went to Harbor Freight and picked up some airline fittings and a hose, because they don't actually provide you, with a hose. They provide you with this fitting on the regulator. I don't know, I couldn't find anything that matches that. It's a weird fitting. So I'm just gonna get some new ones. Hopefully, this one's like an O-ring fitting. Hopefully these ones will work with some pipe thread. I don't see why not. And I'm just gonna run, for my setup, I'm gonna run the hose from here and run it straight to my compressor, which is right there. So I just got like a 8-foot hose from Harbor Freight. It should be pretty straightforward. Okay, the airline is hooked up. It's a little short. I would have liked to move it over further, but that's all right. Electrical setup, I end up having to use like a, power, adapter thing, because my outlet's way over there. And it's starting to work. But I also, the instructions don't say anything about it, but this is where this ring goes. I don't know why it doesn't show it in the instructions, but I basically looked at the picture on the for sale ad or whatever, and you could see it. So that's where it goes. Oh, and then one thing I noticed is, like, for me, for sure, I think I'm gonna end up getting a 90-degree fitting for here, because I can't push it all the way back because of this. And obviously it'd be nice to be back further, because it doesn't really matter that it doesn't really need to be that far forward. So might have to get another fitting. Okay, now everything is hooked up, air supply's hooked up, power's hooked up, so now you can see operation. Okay. Turntable. These jaws. And then move this down a little bit so you can see. Got your bead breaker. And there we go. All right, so onto the tire balancer. Same thing, this one's bolted to the pallet. It's wrapped up pretty good. Don't see any damage, so they did a good job in shipping. So let's get it out of there. All right, so balancer's out of there. This is obviously a lot less work. You just basically plug it in. But there is one thing I gotta do. Basically, it comes with all these pieces. I just gotta put this main shaft in there and tighten it down. I just got a little Allen, put it onto there, and then basically just put everything away, I suppose. Okay, so I got that threaded pieces on there. I threaded these pieces in there. I didn't really see anything in the instructions about it, but that's where they go. So you have different cones. So now I gotta do the calibration. So there's a whole procedure on here. Basically, once you use like a 15-inch wheel, like a steel with a fully inflated tire on it. So I got this piece of crap. Basically take all the weights off of it. And then they provided you, I thought it was funny, I thought it was just like a random wheel weight in there, but there's actually a calibration weight according to them. But so we're gonna follow the procedure on here and do the calibration. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you put the wheel on there, tighten it down like you normally would when you're, using the balancer. So then basically it wants you to go to home, and then after you press the home, you go up and down with this until you see setup. And then once you get to setup, you're gonna press the home button again, and then it'll say calibrate. It'll say cal, and after you press up and down, then you'll see cal, and then you're going to press home again, and then it'll say add 0. So then you're going to start the test. It runs the procedure, and then it stops, and then it'll tell you to add 100, and then basically it wants you to rotate the tire around until all the lights are lit up. You put the 100-gram weight right here on the outside at 12 o'clock, and then you run it again, and then it tells you that right there, and that basically means that it's calibrated. Okay, so I ran I checked the balance on it, and I don't have enough steel weights here. I just used what I had here. So I just had like a 28 and a 35, and it said it wanted 30 and 55. So I put the 28 on the outside. That balanced out like it should. I put the 35 on the inside, and it's showing it still needs 20, which makes sense. So I think as far as I can tell, the balance machine, it's working. So that's good. So as far as operation, everything seems to be pretty easy to navigate. Basically, you've got all these buttons here are for switching for different styles of wheel you're doing. So like this is static dynamic. So like static is just like outside wheel weights for like a steel wheel. Dynamic is just sticky weights just in the center. This one's for a motorcycle. They've got this one. There's a couple different aluminum ones. Like this is one that's really important to me. Like this is just sticky weights inside the wheel, so they're all hidden. That's primarily what I'm gonna be doing. Although I am gonna be using steel for like my truck and that kind of stuff. And then you've just got your distance to the wheel, which is pretty. If you've used a tire machine, basically you just pull this out, check the number, and then you're gonna enter it just by basically going up and down. You've got width, which you've got this, whatever number you come up with, measuring from the inside, that the rim width, you're going up and down to enter that in. Then you've got diameter of the rim, 14, 15, whatever it is, enter that in, then it start, runs it, and yeah, works pretty good. So overall, as far as the balancer is concerned, I think it's a pretty good unit. It seems like it works pretty good. The only thing that I am kind of curious about is it kind of makes a strange noise when it's running the wheel. Like basically when it's slowing down, it makes kind of and when it's running, it makes kind of like a clicking noise. I don't know if that's normal or not. I've never heard a time balancer make that noise. It also makes kind of a noise when it's slowing the wheel down. It's almost like I don't even know. It's like an electric motor kind of noise. Also another noise I'm not particularly used to a balancer making. I mean, it seems to work, so I guess time will tell if it's going to be a problem or not. But I think for the moment, I guess maybe it's just normal operation. All right, so we're going to test out the tire machine. Got this wheel and tire. It's off my truck. It's been leaking for quite some time, so we're going to break it down and test out the machine, see how it does. All right, first problem. Apparently the bead breaker needs to be adjusted further out. I had it tightened pretty much all the way in, but the tire doesn't quite fit in there. It almost does, so I'm just gonna loosen that nut up and then do it again. I just realized I never put bead sealer on here. I guess it gives me a chance to use the bead breaker again. Okay, that's all mounted back up again. Impressions on the tire machine, I'd say it obviously works. It did the job. Things I would note is it does seem like the turntable moves a little bit slower than what I'm used to with most tire machines, possibly because this one has like the 1.5 horse motor, and they had one that was like a 2 horse, which obviously would have been better and a bit stronger. So I kind of wonder if I get into like low profile, tires and stuff, it might be somewhat of a problem, because I've had that in the past where you get into like low profile tires and the whole machine will just stop because it doesn't have enough power to push through. So that might be an issue in the future. I don't know. But I mean, it does work. It is a little bit slow, but that's all right. The tire, the air chuck, that seems to work pretty good. I was able to fill the tire, no problem, get it on and off, just like any other tire machine. the bead breaker, that also seems like it might be a little bit slower than what I'm used to, but it still, worked great, so I really can't complain. So I guess now I'm going to throw it on the balancer. As you can see on that first one, I didn't have it quite centered. It was a little bit wobbly, so now I got to loosen it back up, pound it back on, because it's kind of same procedure. It happens, and these things are, it's the steel wheel, it's kind of a wonky kind of thing to try to get going there and work correctly, so let's fix that. Okay, so you can see here, after running that, getting it centered, this is what it's asking for, 55 and 45. So like when all these light up here, that means that that's where you need to put the weight on at the 12 o'clock position. And obviously this is going to be on the outside. This will be on the inside. This is all I got for steel weights, so hopefully I can make something work. Okay, so I didn't have enough weights, but I got it as close as I could. I mean, within 10, that's not awful. It's a truck. I mean, who gives a shit, right? I'll have to buy some more weights, clearly, but for the moment, that works great. All right, guys. So just to sum up, what I think of this, honestly, I think it's a great investment. I think for the price, you really can't beat it. I mean, brand name tire machines are more than double, what I paid here, so you're talking, if you wanted a tire machine to balancer from, one of the brand names, I mean, you might spend $6,000 or so, for a basic machine. And, if you're doing other things, even more. But I mean, honestly, for home use, this is great. I mean, could you use it at a shop? Yeah, I suppose you could. Is it really the greatest idea in the world? Maybe not, because obviously, like I had said, the tire machine itself, this turntable, it moves a little slower than I would like. So, I mean, realistically, if you were going to do more, more tires than just a few here and there, I would probably say, spend the extra money and probably get the bigger horsepower motor, the 2 horsepower instead of 1.5. That, and they make one that has an extra arm. So if you were doing, low profile tires, you'd be better off with that, because it does help a great deal. I think you could still do some low profile tires with this, but you're going to struggle with it. It's going to be a huge pain. I think the biggest thing is like not only would you not have the extra arm, but, so you'd have to bar it around. But the other problem would be that, like I said, the motor is probably not strong enough to do something if it gets stuck really hard. We'll see. The other things I didn't really touch on, like this, the tire shock, it does work. However, it is a little bit annoying because every tire machine I've ever used always has the air chuck. They have, if it's like a manual one like this, not a digital display kind of deal, they usually have a pedal down there so you can use your foot and then grab the tire and do what you need to do. This one, you have to actually pull the handle on this to inflate the tire. So it kind of sucks because you got to use one hand for that and then one hand for the tire. So I got a feeling that's going to be an issue at some point in time, especially if you're by yourself. If you had somebody else, it wouldn't be a big deal, but that is, kind of a pain in the ass. Like the bead breaker, it works. It's, like I said, it might be a little bit slower than most, but it's honestly, overall, it's not bad. It's not that much slower. It's not enough that I would really worry about it. This, the rest of the, like this kind of shit, the main arm, it feels pretty sturdy. Everything seems to be pretty good. It's got the little protective pads on there, and actually it comes with extra protective pads, and then it's got the little protective pads for the jaws down here in case you are doing something you really don't want to damage the wheel. I was doing steel wheels, doesn't really matter. And then the balancer, as far as I'm concerned, it works great. I mean, it's, I don't really see anything that's a big issue with this. The only thing I'd say is, just keep in mind that when you get it, you're still going to buy weights. You're still going to want to, get, same thing with the tire machine. You're going to want to get some, bead sealer and the tire lube and like a brush. I just had some random brush. I need to get an actual good one. And then, You know, it's got all the cones you need on the balancer, so you shouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff. If you were doing something specific, there might be some other options out there. But it works, it honestly works great for, you know, everything that I need to do. So overall, I mean, I'd say A+. This is a great deal if you're, you know, thinking about getting some stuff like this for yourself, or, you know, maybe even, you know, some light duty stuff in a shop. I think it's a great idea. You know, time will tell, you know, how great it's going to work over time. But for right now, I'd say it's awesome. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it. So like and subscribe and do all the things, and peace out.